online presenters of Virtual Toastmasters Club. It's our new month of September. Welcome, September 2. And to our guests, we'd love to have you join our club. And if you're interested, please note that you should be a current or former active member of Toastmasters International, completed at least 6 Toastmasters official speeches, and demonstrate your abilities. If you have substantial experience, you can do that in a 2 to 3 minute speech delivered during one of our club meetings. All requests for membership are subject to approval by our club members. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Sunny Fridge, aka Dr. Sunny, and I'm your Sergeant at Arms. What I'd also like you to know that if you haven't done so, please change your panel to ensure it displays your name and role. Hover over your video, right-click, and select Rename. And please mute your microphone when you're not speaking. It really helps. We have members and guests from many countries throughout the world. As a professional organization, we ask that you please be aware of language or word usage that may be considered offensive or otherwise insensitive due to cultural differences. And know that we're also recording this meeting. Your video, your audio, they may be contributing to our club marketing and educational purposes, and we thank you. And now, please help me welcome to the virtual stage our club president, Joni Laidlaw. Welcome, Joni.
Thank you, Sergeant at Arms Sunny Fridge. Today is the first meeting for the month of September, and we look forward to many educational, informative, and excellent meetings as we continue on our speaking journey. Now, for today, we have a very, 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 very contentious, no, I don't think it's contentious, theme, unless the intent of the seasons of change is contention. But I found change always works under more amiable circumstances and not contention. But we'll get that explained to us today by our Toastmaster of the day, who will be taking us through the meeting. Please help me welcome David Carr.
Thank you, President Joni. It's funny. You listed the very, 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 very list, and the word contentious, and all I can think of is the English teachers who tell you to stop using the word very every other word. Cut back on that. My wife had an English teacher who kept a board, sort of a trophy board, where he would take an X-Acto knife and cut out the word very out of various essays and pin it to the board as trophies of you have used too many veries in your sentence. So with that, I am very happy to be here and very happy to have the opportunity to lead this meeting. We have a smallish but mighty crowd here for this meeting today. And we have enough good people gathered together to make it a good meeting. So let's make it a good meeting. And our theme is seasons of change. Our word of the day is contentious. And I'm just going to have to contend with that throughout the meeting. We also have to contend with not having a tip of the day today, but we do have some other folks helping out. So Allison Blakeman has stepped in as timer. Allison, can you tell us a little bit about how you will be performing the timing function today?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. So for our speeches and table topics, I will be little technical glitch there. I will be using different backgrounds for the time. When you meet the minimum threshold, I will display green, halfway through yellow and red. And then if we have some contentious speakers, I will change the background to this one that says overtime. So those are the timing methods that I will use. And then after each category, I will post into the chat the times so that we can determine for the voting if the members have met and within limits. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day.
Okay. Certain U.S. sports, anyways, going into overtime is supposed to be good. It's exciting, but it's not so exciting if you go past your time and wind up being disqualified from the vote, the big vote for that reason. I actually had the opportunity to talk about going overtime with Fusi Guatako, who is a world champion, a public speaking contender who ran into a contentious situation of going a couple of seconds over and getting knocked out, even though he gave a dynamite speech. And some people think he may have won, but who knows? Impossible to say afterwards. You can't rerun the experiment. Our next up, let me introduce Jim Barber, who has been pressed into service in 2 different roles as grammarian and as chat monitor. And we don't have an eye counter, so I guess as grammarian, you can also note any particularly egregious, outstanding uses of the ahs and the ums that David made today. Jim Barber, can you explain those couple of roles?
With pleasure, Mr. Toastmaster. And my fellow Toastmasters, what David just said, that's what I'd be doing. I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit more. I'm going to have 3 roles this evening: chat monitor, grammarian, and ah counter. And in all 3 of the roles, I'm going to be paying attention to what people say. As chat monitor, I'm going to be listening, paying attention to what people say in the chat. As a grammarian, I'm going to listen to what people are saying verbally, and as an ah counter, I'm going to be listening to what people are not saying when they're not saying something, but they're not saying it verbally. So that's basically it. I've rambled on long enough. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
All right. And while Jim is listening and reading, somebody else is going to be doing what? Johnny Renee Laidlaw, what will your role be tonight?
I too am going to be multifaceted. Unfortunately, I find myself being a multi-potentialite. Now, that can be contentious depending on the situation, but fortunately, in online presenters, it proves to be an asset. Today, I will be the watcher. I'll be watching how we all appear on camera. I'll also be doing the vote counting to make sure that we vote for best speaker, best evaluator, and best table topics. And I will also be evaluating speaker 1. Don't worry, if I win best evaluator, it's because I won. I'm just saying, I didn't just give it to myself. Just letting you know, it's because I won. I actually did count fairly. I'll give my report when called upon to do so. Back to you, David.
All right, thank you. And so we're at about the point of the meeting where we actually can start on the substance of the meeting, starting with our prepared speeches. I should mention also that I should be very, very grateful for Kirthikka for giving us these backgrounds, because I never graduated to anything dressier than a t-shirt, and so she sort of dressed me up and made me look a little bit more special by having that background behind me. In our first speaker of today is Kirthikka. She is working on strategic relationships level 3, increasing knowledge, connect with storytelling. And her speech is Life Hacks and Management Lessons. She says, we see many characters, many creatures around us, portraying a variety of scenes. They teach us unique lessons. Here is a story from our day-to-day environmental engagement, teaching us management lessons. Kirthikka.
You're muted.
I think it's fine now. Yeah. A hunger to build high-performing teams, envisaging to build a future-focused vision, starts with a forward-thinking mindset. This has led leaders and team members to encounter strategic accidents. We encounter different characters, creatures around us. They portray multiple scenes, vivid pictures, present varying experiences. One such everyday creature that we see find ways to solve our problem. This is one such triology. The triology of a crow leader, eagle leader, and their team members, which helps us to turn strategic accidents into co-cultural cooperation. Eagle, a living symbol of peace, freedom, and transcendence. It has its own beauty, courage, pride, bravery, determination, and even grace. Their exceptional vision, ability to focus on things, find its prey 3 miles from the air. It can flee, cutting through the air with its airy, and its wingspans enable them to fly more than 10,000 feet high. They are a natural predator. Its hunting strategy leverages its pride. It's never to surrender to the size or strength of its prey. For example, it preys on a goat which is larger than its strength and its size. This is a living example. They're powerful, and the powerful talon and its large beak provides us a means to capture its prey, tear down, and find the way that it can completely control the prey. It's considered as one of the most intelligent social creatures. It lives in a group. It has its own potential to find or exploit ways to find sources of food. It's generally opportunistic. It serves and follow the victim by backtracking, distracting it, and it at times steal its food from them. A crow and their advanced problem-solving skills, especially the 8-step puzzle solving presented in a popular media channel, leverages its way to use tools, build its own tweaks from leaves, and it also uses different ways to solve problems. One such way is to throw a nut on the road so that the car crashes the nut, and after which, breaking the nut, it can use it to eat or to feed as a source of food. This is a congregation of eagles, the lifelong learners, visionaries, who have transformational skill as their potential and nature. They're aware of itself and its social surrounding. Their given, chosen, and core identity gives them and makes them to create its own authentic style, a style promoting trust, open, and truthful relationship. These unruly hardy crows promotes compassion and respect to its fellow crow members. Their learning agility, adaptability, and flexibility makes them to be differentiated from others, having them to adapt to any new circumstances. They have coordinated communication, gossiping, and holding grudges onto their own, which reveals their way to attacking their enemies. Crow mobs eagles to protect their nest, source of food, and their territory. Their social behavior is to live in a noisy ground. Eagles, they avoid crowd. Their social behavior is to be solitary or in pairs. These leadership traits gives us to differentiate 2 different types of leadership. One is the bold leadership trait, who prepare every team member to win, investing team strength. The next one is an opportunistic leadership trait, who promote fierce hatred as an investment growing a team. Then comes a unique bird. It's black and white in color with a pink cheek. It has an eagle's sharp beak, and it has a capability to fleet and deep dive inside the water. It exhibited capabilities of a forefront of a modern parenting. Their external features had thick layers of blubber and dense feather, providing insulation to any kind of weather that it can withstand the plummeting weather condition of minus 60 degrees centigrade too. Their cooperative behavior, combined with their physical resilience, their exceptional sharp vision and focus to dive deep into the water and capture the ocean, prove its ability and its strength, which persuaded both the crow leader and the eagle leader. Curious to know more about it, they examined the ancestral existence, providing proof of its fossil dating 62 million years old, where these penguin-like birds thrived just 3 million years after the extinction of dinosaurs too. The survival of the fittest exemplifies these both leaders. These things were discussed when the leaders meet and greet, because it's preordained. It's a co-create work culture. When they have to introduce this team member to their upper management and to the peer leaders and to the team, how did they frame the opportunity and threat? Eagle leader framed it, who was technologically advanced, looked for a best time to introduce the team member, collecting the feedback on an overall from different directions. Whereas a crow leader plunged into every single opportunity, whichever he got, adapting a lean methodology to introduce a leader, to introduce a new team member to the leadership team and to the team members, where he had always been monogamous by social empowerment, by the social way of handling things. You could be a crow leader or an eagle leader. What makes a difference is the way that you cultivate the change, the way that you inspire the team towards their strong performance, the way that the team feels a sense of purpose for their action and deed, the way that they can bounce back from setbacks and goals. It's the leader's responsibility to identify hidden talent. It's their responsibility to cultivate cooperation, prepare participation to win, correlate risks to resolution, and to eradicate any kind of malpracticing, culturally disruptive ways of handling things, and be the first. An authentic action transforms insights into results. And how does it happen? It happens only through the leadership success, and where it all starts with the privilege to hold the uniqueness at any circumstances. It might be the way without compromising their value. And that all starts your leadership style. And that is where your team builds trust on you. And that is how every single individual's growth with an adaptive mindset, without relegating wherever you come from, with passion, gets cultivated as their own culture. Now, a great question arises in the mind of this unique bird, which fell into the eyes of eagle leader and the crow leader. Where do I belong to? Over to you, Toastmaster David.
All right. Thank you, Kirthikka. Once you stop screen sharing, we'll move right along to our second speaker for today, which is Asyl. Asyl is working in Engaging Humor Level 3. The project is using descriptive language. So this project challenges speakers to paint pictures with words. Tonight's speech highlights the power of contrast, how laughter and sorrow, side by side, can move us more than either one alone. Please welcome Asyl Boizhan with her speech, The Last Dance. Asyl.
Hello, online presenters. Have you noticed some people can make you weep just by reading the meeting agenda, while others could announce the end of the world and you'd still be checking your phone. That's the strange truth about speaking. Words may carry the meaning, but delivery carries the weight. A whisper that lingers, a thunderclap that leaves signs behind. And more often than not, it slips in through a question. Have you ever lost something so important that you didn't even realize it was gone until it wasn't there anymore? Not just a question, but one that hangs in the air like a shadow. It's vague enough to make people lean forward, searching for meaning, yet ominous enough to hint at tears waiting around the corner. Sadness rarely works when it comes all at once. You can't just drench people in sorrow and expect them to be with you. It's more powerful when it arrives slowly, like turning down a dimmer switch instead of shutting off the lights. I once heard a speaker begin, "When I was a child, my dog ran away," and the whole room stiffened. Then she added, "Because we lived next door to a sausage factory." The tension broke into laughter, and when sorrow returned later, it struck even deeper. The shift worked because the audience wasn't bracing themselves. They were open, vulnerable, and ready to be moved. Sadness deepens when it wears the clothes of story. It isn't the blunt statement, "My goldfish died," that makes us ache. It's the details that bring him alive. Sir Gilbert swam like a retired sumo wrestler trying ballet, determined, dignified, and just a little out of breath. And then one day he took his final bow and floated dramatically into the curtain call. In giving a goldfish such presence, the loss becomes more than a pet. It becomes a reflection of all tiny things we loved and lost. And here's another example when sorrow needs contrast. A little light makes the dark feel darker. You might say, "I was so heartbroken, I considered adopting a cactus because even a plant that pricks you would feel less contentious than my own loneliness." It's absurd? Yes. But the audience take a breath, even chuckles, before the heaviness returns. That rhythm of relief and sorrow keeps them close instead of pushing them away. Images and metaphors give sadness its shape. My heart felt like a cracked ceramic mug, beautiful but utterly useless now. Or in today's language, my loneliness was like a Wi-Fi signal in basement, weak, flickering, impossible to fix. When sorrow is given shape through the familiar, it becomes something the audience can hold, something they can feel in their hands. Loss may hurt, but grief with hope echoes. Maybe Sir Gilbert wasn't just wobbling around his bowl. Maybe he was teaching us that even our clumsiest performance can still bear significance. The secret to moving people isn't mystical. It's storytelling, sharpened with emotional precision. Whether it's about a goldfish or a houseplant, the goal is the same: to make others feel something real. It reminds us we are humans stumbling through life, losing what we love, and finding value in unexpected places. So, when our Toastmaster of the day, David, read the meeting agenda, don't be surprised if you feel a lump in your throat, because that's the meaning of the last dance. Back to you, David.
All right, so the lump in my throat is because I don't have the rolls filled, but I'm not sure sure it's quite the emotional roller coaster that you're making it out to be. But still, that was wonderful. Post a little note in the chat. Timer, can you tell us how did our speakers do on staying within time today?
Yes, Kirthikka went a little over at 9 minutes and 24 seconds, and Asyl was within time at 6 minutes 47 seconds.
Okay. Well, we all understand that it can be difficult to keep track of the timing signals. Although Allison is using the raise hand thing to try and keep herself visible, but even then, sometimes it helps to have your own timing device to keep track. I think one thing that Toastmasters do develop over the years is a little bit of an inner clock. Certainly, that when you see the red, you know about how long 30 seconds is. Although sometimes with variation of 2 seconds here or there, that can get you in trouble. So Asyl wins for speech of the evening. Very, very powerful speech. I think both of our speakers tonight both came to us with a story, but also with lessons to share with us. And Allison, I saw you posted something in the chat about you could potentially do a tip of the day. Maybe we could. I would love to take you up on it, but why don't we do it after table topics?
Okay.
So that'll give you a moment to prepare yourself as well. I think we could fit that in tonight. And speaking of table topics, Marianne, you were one of the people I was looking at when I was saying, oh, who do I get to double or triple up on rolls? But I didn't want to make you have to do table topics and then immediately roll over into being an evaluator. So that's why you were spared. And table topics is a pretty important part of our meeting as well.
Well,
So
I
please
would
welcome-
have done it for you, David.
Please welcome our topics master, Marianne Grady.
Why, good evening, my friends. It's so nice to see everybody on this Labor Day holiday here in the States. Now, I'm not going to go into what we're doing because you all know, you're all members. But I would have to say that change is inevitable. And just like the seasons, so tonight I have themed my questions to go with the seasons. And I have quite a few of them in case we need to fill time. So Dave, you just let me know when we need to stop. So Allie, I'm going to call upon you first. And I know you're getting ready, but since we have so few people, everyone's getting called on.
Hey, awesome.
Okay, spring often symbolizes new beginnings. What's a springtime moment in your life when you started fresh?
When I started fresh, thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. A time when I started fresh, wow, I could pick multiple topics. Starting a new career happened to me a little over 10 years ago. I was in the telecom industry for for 15 years prior to that, and a set of circumstances found me tired of it, looking for a new beginning. I went from being a manager in the telecommunications industry for large telecom phone companies, providers, to being a software engineer. Yeah, big switch. And that gave me a fresh perspective, a time to start over. And sometimes we think of situations that could put us in those predicaments as could be a disastrous, but we need to look at it, like you said, a springtime moment, a time to start fresh, start over, renew, and have that mindset. It doesn't matter your age, whether you're 15, 20, 35, 55, 60, 70, 74 years old. You can start over and put a fresh step and a fresh perspective into your life. I'm friends with a Toastmaster who happens to be about 74 years old. And until I knew actually how old she was, I thought she was in her 40s because she's always on the go, 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 and always traveling, posting photographs of different restaurants up till 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, wow, you're traveling all over the places. She's got this fresh spring energy that I want to tap into and take her advice and opinion on it. So that's my answer for today's table topics. Madam Table Topic Master, back to you.
Well, I love your answer, and that's one of the reasons why I've loved your being a member here, because you always put a positive spin on it. So it's an opportunity rather than a problem when you see things like that. Next, David, autumn is the season of letting go. What's something you had to release in order to grow?
Well, I don't know if I've released it forever, but my ambition to become a world famous science fiction novelist is something that kind of stalled out at some point. I published a couple of short stories, and then I picked up a pile of rejection letters. If you know anything about the psychology of trying to become a world famous any kind of writer, you send out lots of submissions and you get back lots of rejection notices, and you're supposed to take those rejection notices as a badge of honor and pin them to a bulletin board somewhere and just keep chipping away at it until you succeed. And at some point, I just had to realize that it wasn't happening, or at least it wasn't happening very quickly. And if I wanted to make some kind of a living, I needed to find other things that would work out for me. Uh, about that time, I became a journalist covering something called the World Wide Web. That was kind of interesting. It was kind of exciting. It was kind of happening. I rode that through the dot-com boom and the dot-com crash, and now I'm sort of peripherally involved in it. More as a PR person, but working with a lot of journalists covering the AI boom and waiting for the AI crash, which I think is coming sometime soon. Probably will wipe out most of the economy and leave us all hunting for cans of pork and beans left over by the side of the road to survive on. But until the worldwide economy completely collapses, I'm still kind of having fun. And so, yeah, I've moved on for now. May circle back one of these days.
Well, I'll have to say that's really kind of the opposite of the positive attitude. But thank you for your answer, David.
What I got?
All righty, Jim. What change in your life has felt most natural, and what change was the hardest?
Wow, Madam Topics Master. Oh, change. I would say all change is hard. All change is also natural. I don't know how to differentiate between them because they're just both. But the change that I will address is an extension of what Dave just talked about. I too want to write the great science fiction novel. However, unlike Dave, who had aspirations of making money on it, of being recognized as a world famous science fiction novel writer, I have no such delusions. I I want to do this because I've written nonfiction books and I'm bored with them. I want to write a science fiction novel just to see if I could do it. If I sold a few copies, that would be great, but it's not necessary. I would be doing it for myself. And I've got it all worked out. I've got it written in my head. Before I go to bed at night, many people like to reflect on the day, on the past day. I find that kind of tiring. Other people make lists of what they're going to do the following day. I also find that tiring. I work on my novel. I'll pick a particular part of it and I'll develop the characters, or I'll develop the plot, or I'll develop the dialogue, or I'll do these different things until I fall asleep. And it's just a great way to fall asleep in the evening. So it is a fascinating science fiction novel. It's a mystery. It's got romance. It's got all kinds of things in it. It is a wonderful, wonderful science fiction novel that I will probably never write, but I'm going to have fun not doing it. Madam Topics Master.
Well, no counting sheep for you. I love that. Now, Joni, the seasons always circle back again. What is something in your life that has come full circle?
I do agree that life is about spirals. After all, I did do a speech on the Fibonacci sequence. The thing that I found that cycled was the 1990s. What do I mean by that? When it came to culture, expressions, and how we're living, we're back to the 90s. Now, I'm not sure if it's because the new set of teenagers are actually raised by millennials. So, therefore, the conditions have become millennial. But I found that where we were, by forced, by the way, low tech, just getting into MP3s, not wanting a smartphone, our kids are doing that by default. Is it a contentious matter? No, it's just we're kind of tired of being contacted, and it's probably why none of us actually ever answer a phone call if you're a millennial. We went through it. We're not about that life. We're good with text, but we do not want video calls. That's a thing. Life has a way of circling. I was sitting listening to some music from the 90s in a situation with my son, thinking, it's the exact same thing, just now in a different form, slightly, with a bit of upgrades, or with the things we wish we had then, which we didn't have, and they're so lucky, so I'm so jealous. Life in general tends to spiral and cycle. Case in point, just existence. Mine does cycle quite frequently. You see, like a heartbeat, some days you're up, some days you're down, some days you're back up, some days you're back down. Keep in mind that the only thing constant in life is change. And if it's not going up and down and things aren't moving, that's definitely grounds for contention, because it means you flatlined. Back to you, our table topics master.
That's a great point, Joni. And I have to say, in my job, I was the head of HR when I was working, and no one liked change. So it was always a big project when we had to have change, but I kind of like it myself. So I think your answer was fabulous. Now, let's see. Sunny, if you could name the season you're in right now, spring, summer, autumn, or winter, what would it be, and what's next for you?
Can you repeat the question?
I can. If you could name the season you're in right now, spring, summer, winter, fall, what would it be, and what's next for you?
The season I'm in right now isn't so much a season of change. It's more like a change of life. I'm sweating. I am sweating. It is hot in here. So I'll go with that. Summer. Wow. Summer is always a season of adventure, vacation for many. and enjoying traveling for a lot of people. So I would say that it's a good season to be in. That's always helpful. We have summer for maybe 25 more days or so. And it reminds me to, even though we're not in spring, stop and smell the roses, especially while you're alive. For example, I've had to go to a couple of funerals over the summer, and it was interesting. My mom was looking at the casket of a relative, and she was a little bit sad that there was there were flowers on the casket, but there really weren't flowers on the stand. And she was like, "Ah, I can't believe that no one got your aunt some flowers." And I said, "Well, mommy, she definitely got some flowers while she was living." And listen to all the people who have those fond memories of her. So I think that she bought that for a few minutes until she started talking about it again. But for me, just stopping and reevaluating as we're going into like the final season before the new year starts. So that's where my life is now. I'm still growing, but I do need to look back so I can see where I'm going. And so summer is good for us. And I hope some of you, like me, are stopping to smell the roses as well. Back to you.
Well, thank you, Dr. Sunny. Well said. David, do we have time for more?
I was going to say one more.
Okay, let's see what we have here. Graham, winter can feel like rest or even struggle. What has been a winter in your life and what did it teach you?
Toastmasters, friends. Winter in America is cold, which was actually a song by an Australian called Doug Ashdown. And that's true. Winter, where most of you are, is cold and is tough and is a struggle. But for those of us in the Southern Hemisphere, and particularly for those of us in Australia, winter is merely a pause rather than a struggle. We don't get snow, for example, where I live. In my home city, there has never been a recorded snowfall. In fact, I don't believe a below 0 Celsius or 32, although you do get snow in Florida. But the thing about winter for us is that it is more a period of slowing, a period of reflection, a period of waiting for things to restart. And there have been a couple of occasions where that's happened in my life. Many of you know that my wife got a diagnosis of breast cancer about 3 years ago. And that was a period, I have to say, of challenge. But it was merely a period of slowing, a period of refocusing, a period of starting anew. And that's one of the things that I like about winter. Yes, things slow down, but they are inevitably followed by a restart. There's a philosophy which is often used with young people when things are going badly for them. Those of us who have been through similar circumstances say things get better. And for young gay teens, for example, to be told that yes, things do get better might be the lifeline that they need. Winter is our opportunity to stop, to reflect, and then to say things get better, things restart, things are fresh and new. And that's what we're about to head into here in the Southern Hemisphere. We're about to head into spring. Spring is sprung, the grass is riz. I wonder where the birdies is. Madam Topics Master.
Well, thank you so much, Graham. Now, this has not been a contentious table topic session, but a reflective one, and I've enjoyed hearing from each of you. Thank you, and back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
All right. Hey, can we also hear from a timer? Did all our table topic speakers manage to stay within time?
Yes, Mr. Toastmaster of the day, everyone was less than 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Wow. Okay. Some people stretched it right to that edge of the 30, which actually is supposed it's sort of kind of what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to maximize your stage time. Grab it for all it's worth. So that's great. So Joni has posted the link. Please click on the link and vote so that we will have some votes so she won't have to just make these things up. And with that, actually, Allie had volunteered to give us a tip of the day, and then after that, we'll go to the evaluations portion of the meeting.
Okay.
So I have no idea what she has for us, but she's got something.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. So for the tip of the day, interesting, as stepping in this year to a division director, I was responsible for putting together the Toastmaster TLI training for all the officers. And what was funny is mine was online because of how wide and diverse my division is. So I got to do it virtually. And what does that mean when you do it virtually is everybody who waited to the last minute decides they're going to join mine. There was about 74 people total in participation that day. I spoke, had a keynote speech, and there was some little mix-ups with the start time. My second keynote speaker was late, so I had to extend my keynote to 40 minutes. And I spoke on running effective meetings. Putting together was something really passionate that I'm about with being the VP of membership for online presenters, is running effective meetings, but how do we attract new members? And something when I put the slides together, and quite honestly, at 8 o'clock Saturday morning, the meeting was scheduled to start at 10:30 a.m. my time. I revamped most of my slides because I had this epiphany of idea of how I was going to present, and it went really well. What I want to share with you is one question. I won't bore you with the 25 slides that I use with little keynote items on each one. But the one thing I ask the audience is, and we all struggle with this, and this time of the year, we're looking at renewals and membership payments and growing our clubs. That's part of my role as the vice president of membership, is to attract new members and help guide them to commit and make the payment and join. So the question I want to leave you with today is what I asked early on in my keynote speech, is why should I join your club? So David has a club Friday morning, and name just skipped out of my mind, David. But you give occasionally in this club meeting and other social medias reasons we should join your club on Friday mornings. And that's something for online presenters, is I talk to people and I give them a reason why should they join our club. That's something as Toastmasters, and we're all in various different clubs and we hold different leadership roles. So I want to leave you with that today, to think about when you make a post or you invite someone to your club meeting. Think of what you're going to say as an answer to the question, why should they join or attend your club meeting? What's in it for them? That's what it is. And that's what has kept me coming back to online presenters for over a year now, is because I learned something from every speaker, every meeting, every table topic session, every tip of the day, learning new things. So that's my 3-minute, 10-second tip of the day today, Mr. Toastmaster of the day.
And she timed herself. Wonderful. Okay. We're all doing backflips here. We knew we were probably going to get a little bit light attendance for this meeting, although you never know. That might be the occasion where somebody who's usually busy on Monday night doesn't have their other obligations because it's Labor Day in the US. And so we could have gotten guests. We didn't, but we could have. So I guess one of the things I tell people too is that part of marketing theory is that you just have to make a lot of impressions on people, sometimes before they pay attention. And then one of these days you catch them at the right time where they have something that they need to do in their profession or they need to do in their life where your club can be the answer. So make sure we keep that message out there. Kirthikka is working on that, but it's kind of a job for all of us. So wonderful message. Let's turn it now over to our general evaluator, Sunny Fridge, to lead us through the evaluation portion of this meeting. Sunny.
Happy Labor Day to all who are enjoying the day. I'm Dr. Sunny, your general evaluator, and this is the part of the meeting where we get to practice our listening skills, not just listening to speeches, but listening to how each part of the meeting is conducted. And I've been listening to that word of the day today, contentious, and many of you have really used it creatively. Let's get to our speech evaluators. Our first speech evaluator is Joni. She will be evaluating the speech by Kirthikka. Welcome, Joni.
Kirthikka, let me start by saying I liked your use of slides. The images were very impactful and it actually did help me to follow along. And I say this, I have an accent too. So you do have an accent, and sometimes things might fall in between the cracks, depending on if you're speaking very quickly or if it's a word that is pronounced different because of the accent. But let me say, your use of language today was very, very good. I liked your pace. I liked your tone. And I do believe it was falling into the fact that you were following your slides. I also enjoyed the concept. Now, it's an out of the box thought, quite capitalism, actually, the leadership as it relates to being predators. You're either a crow or an eagle. Yeah, sounds about capitalism. But it was not a thought that I would have initially thought of. I liked the fact that you didn't state one was better than the other, but you provided both the pros and the cons of both. The pros of being a crow versus the cons of being a crow. The pros of being an eagle versus the cons of being an eagle. You didn't state the pros of being a goat or the leadership of the goat. And I do believe it's important to also add the goat in this, but I think your focus at this time was actually on predatory leadership and not just leadership in general. We'll go with that one. What would I suggest that you do to actually improve this speech? Well, your time. I realize that you slowed down. You are speaking much slower, but because of that, you have to watch how much information that you insert, because that can become contentious. We're a whole 2 minutes over the time that you were expected to end. Since you have the slide and since you have something to follow, what would I suggest doing? Taking out pieces. You had 3 birds. So you started with 2 birds and you added another bird and it added extra time to it. And if you had removed things or timed, say 1.5 minutes per slide, it would give you the opportunity to pace yourself more effectively when you're doing this presentation. I would also ask that you engage the audience. So it was interesting content, but sometimes when it's a lot, people can get distracted. Think about it. Say I relate to being a goat and you are talking about somebody flying down as an eagle and abusing me and saying that I cannot buck them. Because Jamaican, it means hit them with the thing. I'm not sure if that's universal, but I cannot buck them because I am a goat and they won't. It's important that you engage the audience, ask questions of various people so that it increases your impact and it pulls them in. But overall, I enjoyed it. It's going to give me a lot of food for thought. Keep on time next time. Keep the slides, keep the pace, but just reduce the amount of information that you use. Back to you, our general evaluator.
Thank you so much, Joni, for that helpful and detailed evaluation. And now our second speech evaluator is Chatty Jim Barber. He will evaluate the speech by Asyl. Welcome, Jim.
Nope.
Okay, go on, Jim. You were going to say?
It's Graham.
Graham is the second evaluator.
That's all right. Yes.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be contentious about that. Go ahead, Graham.
No worries. I'm glad you got the use of contentious in there. Over the years, one of my favorite evaluators of me as a speaker has been Asyl, because Asyl is always so kind, so generous, so informative. She's genuinely been a delight to have her evaluate my presentation. And so I should be fair and be nice and kind and generous in return. Well, I am going to be, but not because she is so good, but because this was such a great presentation. I genuinely delighted in the use of the language which Asyl was using here today. As many of you know, I love the language. It's one of the things that I genuinely delight in seeing uses of words and of phrases that might stick out and stick with you. Words carry meaning, but delivery carries the weight. What a great phrase. I am going to use that. When sorrow returned, because we had some humor, when sorrow returned, it struck even deeper. And sadness deepens when it is clothed in a story. Those were just 3 quotes from the early part of Asyl's presentation. This was absolutely jam-packed with gorgeous uses of language. The lessons from Sir Gilbert, the goldfish, the framing story for all of this, I thought was delightful. And one of the few observations that I would make for Asyl from this presentation that might be seen as perhaps less than complimentary is that because Asyl was telling us about how valuable stories are to carry the language and to carry the message, she might have begun more effectively with a story. Asyl began by saying, I remember hearing very early a speaker who spoke about her dog running away, and then it was next to a sausage factory, and we all laughed and it took away the tension. Yes, that was a delightful story, but had Asyl actually started in the middle of the story, the dog had run away. Why? Well, because it was next to a sausage factory. This was one of the, so if you start in the middle of a story, it actually gets our attention. Having said that, I did read the other day a post in Facebook where somebody suggested that they had been held hostage by all of the speakers at the World Championship of Public Speaking at the World International Convention the other day, because they all started with a story and at about the 5-minute mark, bang, came the message. Well, yeah, bear that in mind. But I have to say, I am going to go back and watch this presentation again. You may have noticed I actually dropped off in the middle of this and came back, which is a pity because I was genuinely enjoying this. I'm going to think of the Wi-Fi in the basement, weak, flickering, and impossible to fix. Another one of those delightful lines that I still use. And I'm going to go back and watch this speech and get more and more from it. I thank you for presenting Asyl, a genuine delight to me. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Graham. And you also were a delight in sharing creative feedback. Now it's time for me to introduce a few more of our facilitators because teamwork makes the dream work. First up, I'm going to have, I didn't know what his name was. It was Chatty Grammy. And I was like, Grammy? Okay. But it's Chatty, Grammarian, Grammy, Wizard of Oz. So come on board, Jim. Let's talk about odd counter and grammarian first.
Okay. Madam General Evaluator, you said counter and grammarian first. Okay, counter. Congratulations. If anybody said any ums or ahs tonight, any filled pauses, you did it so naturally that I didn't notice it. So I'm especially talking to you, David. Congratulations. That was very, very good. Again, if there were any, maybe I missed them, which is kind of the whole idea behind it, because the problem with ums and ahs is they are distractions. And if you use them, they weren't distracting. Now, grammarian. Ooh, let's see. Kirthikka used the word opportunistic. I like that. Ali used the word epiphany. I always like epiphany. As Graham has already indicated, Asyl just gave a wonderful collection of metaphors and similes in her presentation, but I want to single out something that she said. It's not really a grammarian's report per se, except it's a to me, this could be almost the slogan that Toastmasters International should use. She said, I think I wrote this down right. Words carry the meaning, but delivery carries the weight. That speaks volumes about Toastmasters. I think that is just so much meaning is packed into those 9 words. I like that very, very much. And that's my grammarian report. And what did I do? Counter report. Would you like me to continue with the others?
With the others, yes.
Okay. Let's see, the chat monitor, we had an active chat. We're very social creatures, chatty, but I don't have anything in particular to note. I would just remind you all, go ahead and save the chat. It makes it awful easy if you want to go back and refer to it later. It's easy to do it right now. Save the chat. And finally, let's see. Oh, I didn't mention as part of my grammarian's report, the word of the day was contentious. I noticed that Asyl, Joni, Marianne, Sunny used it twice. There may have been some other people to use it. If I missed it, I apologize again. You just did it so nicely. It sounded natural and I didn't notice it. And the last thing I have no idea where this falls, but I want to say thank you to Graham for his observation to start in the middle of a story. I've been coming to Toastmasters for years and I've never heard anybody suggest that. That is brilliant. Start the story in the middle. I'm going to try that. I'm looking forward to it. That's all of my reports for the evening. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, and great reports they all were. And thanks for your creativity. Chatty, Grammy, Wizard of Oz. Love it today. Triple duty. Now, let's see what else we have. Well, when we are not checking the chat, somebody's watching you. And that somebody today is Joni, our watcher. Joni, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Now, normally we would talk about how you fall in the camera. Today, I'm going to talk about the actual background. Now, if we're going to be creating a background, I'm going to ask that let's make it easy for everybody to be able to be effectively framed. We have to be down here and you're squidgy and small instead of up here. A simple movement of the wording. See, the wording is here. The wording here, however, is too far. The beauty of it is it can be smaller. And if you actually take it over slightly in that direction and make it smaller, then we'd all be able to fill more of the screen, which would allow us to not just be from here up. So that's going to be my suggestion as watcher, because we all did a really good job being online as it relates to being on camera today and being centered, but it makes it difficult to be centered if you don't want to hide anything on the background. Next, as the vote counter for our best speaker, the winner was Asyl by default.
Yay!
For best evaluator, and I put it in the chat just to prove, because I won. It was me. I did it. Me.
Woo-hoo!
But this is the thing. When it came to table topics, though, it was me again. I'm joking. When it came to table topics, the winner was Graham Carnes. Back to you, our general evaluator.
Awesome. Well, great. And congratulations to all of our winners today. We are We are ending a little bit early today. The meeting ran smoothly. Our seasons of change was woven throughout. Shout out to Kirthikka for making our virtual backgrounds for today's theme. And we had lots of energy from everyone participating, really going with that vocal variety and using some gestures today. I saw Asyl, almost wanted to dance with her. I also noticed some creative uses of our word of the day, and that's a tricky word, contentious at times. So good job, everyone. So I'm just going to say thank you. And for the role takers, your hard work, for making a difference, because really, when it comes to evaluating, that's our paycheck, a lot of us, so we can get better and become better communicators and more confident communicators. And as far as our theme, our table topics were great questions. And keep embracing change and seasons of learning and growing as presenters. Back to you.
All right. Wonderful.
Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
All right. So I think we had a compact but powerful meeting today. So thank you. If you saw me going off camera a couple of times, it was because my wife did, in fact, deliver to me a glass of wine. And there are two reasons I went off camera. One was that some people think it's rude when you take a sip of wine. Also, I think it makes you look like a psycho because with the virtual background, it looks like I'm drinking an imaginary glass of wine. Maybe you can see it there a little bit. Anyway, so I'm entitled. It's Labor Day. I'm relaxed. And I thank you all for making this a good meeting. Let me turn it back to our club president, Jenny Renee Laidlaw, and maybe Graham also for lining people up for next week, although you have a limited number of people to pick on right now, Graham, but still, let's hand it first to Joni for any closing remarks.
Thank you, David. Just a reminder, everybody, it is renewal season. So it is time for us to get renewed here at Online Presenters for our upcoming season. Now, I enjoyed our meeting. I know a lot of us weren't here because it's a holiday in one of the countries that we have members in, but either way, we still got it done. Everybody filled in. Some people did 2 roles, some people did 3, but we came in and we still got 2 project speeches completed. And Ali even did an impromptu tip of the day. So it's always great when we put in the effort, even if we're a small group, to meet and still get it done, because that's what's important. It's always about getting it done. Though I thought, based on the theme, David, and what's happening in the world, your presentation might have been a little bit more contentious. Fortunately, I had a sigh of relief at the end when you didn't. I was like, okay, awesome. So I am now going to I'm going to call this meeting adjourned. We don't have any guests, and I'm going to turn over to Graham to fill the roles for our upcoming meeting.